Welcome back, Gyalavanters, or if you're here for the very first time, welcome to the squad. Today I'm going to discuss 10 tips on how you can save money while traveling, or as I like to call it, Gyalavanting, so that we can all stretch these coins and do everything that we want while we're on vacation. Now, before we get into it, I want to let you all in on a little secret. I'm hella cheap. All 10 of these tips might not be for you depending on what's important for you while you are traveling, but I guarantee that at least a few of these tips will be worth considering. So let's not waste any time and let's just hop right into it.
Tip number 1, book a stay outside of the city center.
Listen, you do not need to stay in the city to enjoy the city. You do not need to stay in a hotel with a coastal view to enjoy the coast. Most of the time when you're booking a stay that is directly in the city center or right on the water, those spaces tend to be smaller, of course, way more expensive and more noisy. So if you're like me and you want to hop into the scene and dibble dabble, do your stuff during the day, and then retreat to somewhere that's going to be more quiet for you to like turn down, then I definitely recommend this tip. I will tell you though, one of the cons could be like commuting. I remember one time when I was in Dubrovnik and we stayed at this like beautiful place that was up high in the hills or whatever, but we literally had to walk down like a mile of stairs. Many stairs.
Yeah.
Wish death upon me, don't wanna climb no more, wanna reach the sky no more. But you know what? I got my steps in, I got my calories burned, and listen, most importantly, my wallet did not hurt.
Tip number 2, travel during low season.
This one is so important because you can not only save on the price of the accommodations, you can also save on the price of your flight or train or ferry or whatever mode of transport that you take to get to your destination. One potential con that I can say is that the weather might not be exactly what you planned for. I stayed at this amazing spot in Santorini during the low season, and it was a little chilly, but I had warm thoughts, okay? And my pictures still came out amazing, and we had a great experience, and I think that we really got to take advantage of all of the sights and get some great photos in without people obstructing my view. Another low season story that I wanted to add that I forgot about. Me and like 20 people from my travel group went to Ibiza during low season, and y'all, we were like the only people on the island. When we went to the club, it was just us, and we had the best time, and it was for one of our friends' birthday, so we just took over the island. So that's another perk of traveling during low season. And yes, my outfit has changed because like this thought came to me after I finished shooting, but whatever.
Tip number 3, research free events and activities.
The amount of activities that I did that were free was definitely worth the experience. I did free walking tours.
On day 5 of Greece on a budget, taking the free walking tour, not going inside of the sites, looking at it from the outside.
Hello,
oh yeah.
That's mine.
My brother's on the street.
And another place where you can research free events would be sites like Eventbrite. They'll have all of the local stuff going on. Or ask a local. You want to get the local experience? Make some friends, be friendly, chat with the locals. My pro tip, I would say bring your student ID, okay? Because you're never too old to be a student, and let me tell you, these student discounts are popping.
When your college ID comes through and you get that student discount half price off.
I will say that I haven't been successful every time that I use my student ID.
Tried to get the student discount, but they were like, nah, B, you need that international card, so pay us that full $30 to walk these walls.
But who cares? I'm shameless. If you gotta be embarrassed for a second, it's all good. If I'm gonna save 50% or get it for free with my college ID and I graduated over 10 years ago, then you know that black don't crack, and I'm getting them discounts, honey. Listen, get all of the discounts, y'all. All of the discounts.
Tip number 4, support local restaurants, vendors, and merchants.
Many of the places that we visit, like, they are dependent on tourism. So why not spread the wealth and support small businesses, local businesses? The food is gonna be so authentic. They're gonna be sourcing the ingredients locally, so you'll be eating seasonal fresh foods. And because of that, it's usually a lower price. Sometimes these mom and pop shops might not be on Yelp or on your Google search. So again, talk to a local. Another thing outside of restaurants, like supporting small merchants and vendors, I remember when I was in Cape Verde and we were staying at this beautiful resort, and of course inside of like the main lobby they had all of the tourism people with their big fancy like marketing boards and trying to sell you these excursions for 100 euros. But when I went outside and I was chatting with the local vendors who were the ones who were actually operating the tour, they said that they sell it for 20 euros. So that was a no-brainer for me. I'm like, am I gonna pay 100 euros, 5 times the price? Or am I gonna support the vendor directly? He's gonna get more of the profit. And that's what I did, and I had an excellent time. Another pro tip, if you are traveling to a country where English is not the main language, I would definitely recommend just learning some basic local phrases. Things like hello, thank you, please, how are you? People will tend to be more friendly to you if you're trying to learn more about their culture and speak in their native tongue.
Tip number 5, book Airbnb extended stay discounts.
If you book for a week, you're looking for a discount for upwards of 20%, or if you book for a month, you're looking for discounts that can sometimes be over 50%. Sometimes even booking more nights than you actually need will work out cheaper than, like, say you were just going for like 20 nights. You'd be surprised that if you booked it for 30 nights, even though it's 10 nights more, it's gonna work out cheaper than if you just booked for the amount of nights that you need.
Tip number 6, be flexible with flight date and time.
If you do have the luxury of being able to be flexible with your flight date and time, you can definitely get a cheaper flight, and like I find like midday flights to be cheaper, or red-eye flights, which I prefer because I like to just sleep. I had a midnight flight and it got me into my destination at 2 a.m. Landing at 2 a.m. is not always the ideal thing to do because at that time the only mode of transport that we had was a taxi, and because of the late night hours they charged us the late night prices, and the taxi cost more than the flight. So sometimes you gotta like balance out these things, because although certain things might be cheaper in the front end, you might be paying a little bit more on the back end, so you wanna make sure that you include all of these variables when calculating your budget.
Tip number 7, use a travel credit card.
When using a travel credit card, you're not having to pay international fees. You can also earn travel points on booking your flights, booking your hotels, and booking your restaurants. There are multiple travel credit cards. I personally use the Chase Sapphire card. If you would like to apply for that card, I will leave my code in the description box. And then I would get some extra points, and you will get an amazing card. Another pro tip, when you are paying with your credit card, make sure that you pay in local currency. Do not make them convert it to your currency, because you are charged a surcharge for that. The same thing goes for when you're pulling money out of the ATM machine. One time I pulled $200 out of a machine, and I went back and was like checking the conversion rate, and they charged me $20 to take money out of the machine. That is insane.
Tip number 8, get small bills in local currency.
Sometimes when you're, shopping around with vendors, or when even when you're hopping in a cab, people might not always have change for you, or they say they might not have change. So to save yourself the hassle, just make sure that you have small bills. And it's always a great thing to just have cash. I know that credit card is king, but sometimes when you're going to more rural areas, or if you are shopping with local merchants, you might not be able to pay with card. And, you know, growing up, my father was like, you always have to have cash. It's illegal to not have cash. That's not true, but, you know, for safety reasons, you should probably just always have cash on hand.
Tip number 9, use public transportation and walk.
From my destination back to the airport, there was a taxi that would have been 50 euros or a shuttle bus that dropped me straight to the terminal for 5 euros. So for 10 times cheaper, I definitely went with the shuttle bus. I am that friend who will have you walking all day, okay? I've done travel days where I'll look at my phone and it would be like 10 miles for the day. So if you're really trying to explore and experience the city, walk. Don't be scared. Do a little walk. Wear comfortable shoes. That is obviously top priority.
Tip number 10, book a stay with a kitchen.
I'm not here to tell you do not eat out when you're on vacation, because that is a part of the cultural experience. You want to try the breakfast, you want to try the lunch, you want to try the dinner, but you don't have to try all 3 meals every single day. Go to the local grocery store, cook you at least 1 or 2 of the meals for the day, and then balance it with eating out as well.
3:45, why I don't really cook. The Brussels sprouts are looking pretty okay. Tostones, tasty. But this chicken though!
Find you a local that'll cook for you. That is how my now husband won me over, because he cooked for me, and the rest was history. So every meal doesn't have to be at a restaurant. I hope that you all enjoyed the 10 tips on how to save money while on vacation. Let me know if there are some other tips that you recommend as well in the comment section. And yeah, community, let's keep knowledge sharing and let's save these coins so that we can do more while we are gallivanting. Skin glowing, skin popping, gallivanting. We gallivanting. Ayy.